The film begins with a girl named Lucy standing with her boyfriend Richard in front of a hotel in Taiwan. And we learn that Lucy is a student studying at the university and that she recently met Richard at the bar. Richard asks Lucy to take a bag and deliver it to someone named Yang at the hotel, but she refuses and tells him that she stayed up late last night and wants to go sleep to rest a bit, and then she will study her lessons. But Richard doesn't let her leave, so she gets annoyed and tells him to deliver the bag himself. Richard tells her that he has problems with Yang and explains that all she needs to do is go to the receptionist and say she wants to meet Mr. Zhang. As soon as she sees Yang, she should give him the bag, and that's it, the task is done. Lucy then asks him to open the bag so she can see what's inside. But Richard refuses and offers her a large sum in exchange for delivering the bag. However, Lucy refuses and tells him she will leave, so Richard surprises her by handcuffing the bag to her hand. She gets upset and asks him to give her the key to the handcuffs. He apologizes and tells her that the key is with Gang and informs her that she has no choice but to go deliver the bag. Lucy is forced to enter the hotel and goes to the receptionist, telling him she wants to meet Mr. Zhang. At that moment, Richard is standing outside signaling to reassure her, but suddenly Richard is shot and dies. Lucy collapses when she sees her lover dying in front of her. But Gang's men catch her and take her to the suite where Gang is staying. There, she sees bodies on the ground and she gets terrified, scared, and starts crying because she doesn't understand what's happening. Gang comes out of the room wearing protective glasses, his hands covered in blood. We learn here that Gang is a contraband dealer and a big gang leader. Lucy is afraid of him and tells him she's here to hand over the bag and leave. She keeps begging him not to kill her. But Jiang doesn't understand her because he speaks another language, so he calls a translator and puts the speaker on to translate her words. Lucy asks the translator to tell him that she has nothing to do with anything and that Richard was the one who gave her the bag to deliver to him. Gang replies and tells her that he killed Richard because he doesn't trust him. He asks her about the contents of the bag and she says she doesn't know what's inside. Gang writes the number 140 on a piece of paper, gives it to Lucy and tells her that this is the secret number to open the bag. Then he gets up and goes into the room to protect himself. And that's because he thinks the bag contains explosives. His men hold up protective shields to protect themselves from the explosion. At the same time, they point their weapons at Lucy to make her open the bag. Of course, Lucy opens the bag, extremely frightened, and she discovers that the bag contains blue illegal substances. Then Gang and his men return to her. They bring an addict and make him consume some of the substances. At that moment, the man starts having convulsions as if he's about to die, but suddenly he calms down and starts laughing like a madman until Gang pulls out his gun and finishes him off. Then Gang offers Lucy to work with him, but Lucy refuses and tells him she wants to leave, so one of his men hits her hard and she faints. And we go to the University of Paris where we see a doctor named Norman. He is talking about the mental capabilities of humans. He says that humans have been able to develop their mental abilities over the ages, from when they used rocks to ignite fire to making amazing inventions. Norman says that humans only use 10% of their mental capabilities. And he says that animals can use 5% of their brain capacity. The only animal that surpasses humans is the dolphin. This is because the dolphin uses 20% of its brain capacity. We then return to Lucy and see her waking up on a bed in a hotel room. She discovers at that moment that there is a wound on her abdomen. One of Yang's men enters and gives her clothes to wear. And then he takes her to Zhang. There, a doctor named Ren comes and tells her that he opened her abdomen. When he sees she's terrified, he reassures her and tells her that they didn't take any organs from her body. He informs her that they only placed a bag of contraband inside her abdomen because Yang wants her to smuggle these drugs to a certain country in Europe. He tells her that these drugs are called CPH4. At that time, Zhang's men bring in 3 addicts who also have bags of drugs inside their stomachs like Lucy. They give them passports because each one of them will travel to a specific country in Europe. Ren tells them that someone will meet them as soon as they arrive. This is to perform surgery and take the contraband from them. He informs them that this contraband is different from any other type to the extent that it will create a breakthrough in the global contraband market. He warns them that if any of them reports to the police, their entire family will die. Then Jiang's men cover their faces and take them out of the hotel. When Lucy wakes up, she discovers that the gang has detained her and she is chained to the cell wall. One of the gang members enters and wants to get close to her, but Lucy forcefully pushes his hand away, which angers the man. He keeps hitting her in the stomach until his colleague pulls him away and they leave. Due to the severe beating Lucy endured, the bag of contraband inside her stomach bursts, spreading a quantity of the substance inside her body. Suddenly, Lucy's eyes turn blue. We learn here that Lucy has gained a superpower which allows her to use 20% of her brain's capacity. At this time, we go to Dr. Norman in the lecture he is giving. He says that if a person could use 20% of their brain's capabilities, they would become extraordinary. Because at that time, he will have the ability to control and manage all the cells in his body. And if the percentage reaches 40%, then a person might be able to control the creatures around them. They could also control materials, liquids, and anything else on the planet. So one of the students asks what might happen if a person could use 100% of their brain's capabilities. Norman is impressed by the question and keeps thinking about the answer. And in the end, he says he has no idea what might happen then. We return to Lucy, who wakes up and sits quietly in the cell. As soon as one of the gang members enters, she looks at him with admiration, making him understand that she wants to get closer to him. He puts his weapon on the table and approaches her, but she takes his belt and throws it forcefully on the ground. She uses the belt to pull the table closer and takes the gun. After freeing herself, she leaves the cell and goes out to the street, where she finds two taxi drivers in front of her. She shoots one of them and forces the other to take her to the nearest hospital. On the way, Lucy is surprised by her fighting skills and weapon use, especially since it's the first time she's done this in her life. She's even more surprised when she discovers she can hear people talking on the street even though they are far away. What's more, when she arrives at the hospital, she understands the Chinese writing in front of her. And here she realizes that she can speak more than one language. Lucy enters an operating room while the doctors are performing surgery on a patient. Lucy looks at the patient's scans and discovers that she can understand them very well. She understands that this patient has a brain tumor and the tumor is spreading rapidly.
She pulls out the gun, kills the patient, and sits in his place.
And she asks the doctor to open her abdomen and remove the bag of contraband inside her. She tells him he can start immediately because she doesn't need anesthesia. The doctor follows her instructions, shocked and astonished. At that moment, Lucy